Okay. Hi, Diana. It's so lovely to catch up with you and chat with you. It's been such a long time. Please, can you tell us about the organization WGLI and about yourself, how you started?
Oh, thank you for having me, and it has been a long time, and I'm thrilled and grateful that you invited me here to share information about the organization, and I'm incredibly honored because I know of your position in women's leadership and what you want to create. Thank you. So I'm Diana Ruiz. I'm the CEO of Women's Global Leadership Initiative. The organization is focused on building women leaders. And we do that by creating partnerships. And through those partnerships, we provide them with the education and the tools to educate and provide access to the women that they serve, and externally or internally in the organization. Right now, we have a program that is targeted as a community benefit program, and that is targeted for community service organizations, nonprofits, workforce development, and career development and career departments. And it's an effort towards helping with post-pandemic recovery efforts and education and the workplace for women.
Yeah.
A lot of information.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
I got ahead of myself.
Yeah. So
what's new? What's new?
So I'm super excited about your leadership program that is being offered online. Mm-hmm. And it is free for everyone to join. So can you tell us something about, because since I live in Canada, and I mean, over here, women can take advantage of your program.
Yes, they can. Well, it's free. It's free of cost. It's about it's a one-day program from 9 to 2 p.m. And what it covers is what is very essential in leadership development, which is the personal development aspect. So you need to develop yourself as an individual and create self-awareness and create those skills of how to negotiate, how to present your best self, issues that talk to self-esteem and social conditioning, addressing all those things to build the very foundation. And then from that foundation, once you know who you are, where you come from, and what is important, what you're willing to accept and what is not negotiable, then you can start building leadership skills in terms of organizational leadership skills like project management and so on. So this program is focused on more of the personal development aspect, though everything that you learn in personal development is applicable in the professional sphere, right?
And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, is because it's very important to personally develop yourself, to be personally aware of who you are, so you can project it while you work. And I think regardless, even if you're not a professional, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or you do your own business, it's very important, because a lot of times we are not aware of who we are. We don't know our strengths. We don't know, what things we can do. We don't take these courses until we don't grill ourselves from the inside and ask those questions.
Yeah, and it's about taking a deep dive. So people have to take a commitment, make a commitment to self, saying, I'm going to take a deep dive, and I'm going to look at how my personal history informs me, what I want to take with me, and what I want to leave behind. How does social conditioning inform me?
Important.
How do past relationships and future relationships, what I want to manifest? So it's really about taking a deep dive. And so anything that's superficial in nature may get you so far, but at some point, if you don't work at the deeper level and those issues that cause poor self-esteem, or why you don't speak up, or why you don't ask for what you want, those are the things that really need to be attended to before you could really take off in a very solid, strategic way.
And I think we as women have been conditioned to always give, have always been the giver.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes we have to take a step back and say, okay, I want this, and that was a self-discovery for me personally. um, I've been, for the longest time, I like to always help and I always give, but I never ask. I never say, okay, I want this, or I'm tired, and those are little things which I learned in one of the leadership courses. And it really changed a lot of things.
Yeah, it really does, to recognize, well, self-efficacy, right?
Yes.
Advocating for yourself and rather than advocating for others. It's only when you know what you want and what you don't want, at that point you become powerful enough in terms of representing yourself and then representing community. Your impact is much larger. Another thing that I want to add to women's sense of giving, it's also kind of like a search for identity, that my identity lies in how I contribute to others.
Yes.
And what happens is that's a false sense, because you're never going to find who you need. You're never going to be able to validate what you contribute through your contribution to others. First, you have to know what you contribute and how that is valuable. And then you come as a whole person, right? Rather than trying to find your identity in service to others. And so that's very, for women.
And that's something I'm very glad and I'm very proud that WGLI and you, Diana, have taken the initiative to start this course.
Thank you.
Because, I know, we all, even I, oh yes, I can do this. Leadership, what is leadership? Delegating, that's what when people hear, that's what they see. How can you manage a group? No, leadership comes within yourself too.
Yeah.
Until you're not confident, you're not self-aware, like you said, you cannot shine.
Yeah.
And I've seen, whether it's in relationship, professional life, in anything, and people take advantage of you, and I've been taken advantage, believe me. A lot of people, they're like, oh, it's okay, she'll do it, or I've seen women. That's one thing I want to talk about. Is I work with a lot of women, and they have been a victim of some sort of abuse, whether it's society, emotional, financial. We all women have some sort of story, right? And a lot of them don't think they're good enough to go back to school, to fulfill their dream of whatever career they wanted, because of that self, doubt.
Yeah. And also frame of reference, right? I'm sorry, I have allergies. So a frame of reference is, do I know women that look like me, that I can relate to, that provide context, right? She did it, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
Another is, if nobody in the family has been in college, we hear quite often that for my mother, me finishing junior college was good enough. She didn't go to high school or junior high. So all of those things. But when you come from a strength perspective, when you work on what I have and what I need to develop and what are my personal strengths, then from that strength is where you can identify exactly where you want to go. What's important to me, and then I have these strengths to help me bring these two things together and then propel forward, right? Then the leadership skills, personal and professional, is part of that arrow, right? Does that make sense?
No, that's very true, because everything works parallel and everything is interlinked with one another.
Everything is connected.
Which we don't realize, right? And now, as you've seen with COVID happening, and everyone is starting to go back in life, everyone is starting to go back to work, school, everything. We got that 1.5 years to 2 years to kind of self-reflect to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of figured out, where do we stand? Is that the direction I want to go? And I think it's very important, like you said, that self-dive that you have to do to make yourself aware of, who you are. it's very important, personally, socially, and professionally.
Yeah, it really is. To know thyself, and then also serve as like a role model, right? To be aware that people are looking to you for answers. And when we're out there in society, other women are watching this, so we're providing the role model, the context. So there's also on another side, it's as women, we have a responsibility to other women.
Yes.
Right. And bringing them forward. And what has occurred, or what continues to occur, is that often women compare themselves to another woman.
Yes, thank you.
And the thing is that we are all unique. We are never going to
no one is saying
we can't compare ourselves to anyone else, because we're different, right? So if we compare ourselves to someone else, we're always going to come up short, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So and that's where the competition factor comes in, and this type of thing. So,
and that's what it is. I've seen a lot of women, that's why you never have like good women friends, honestly.
mm-hmm.
Because down the road, after a while, there's some sort of competition and you lose your friend, mm-hmm. which is so sad, because that's like something instead of pulling one another down, please push each other. You might be good in one thing, I might be good in another thing.
Well, what women need to recognize that this is directly linked to women's equity. Yes. So if women are able to help promote and support and push forward other women, right?
Yes.
Based on their strengths, we're going to have more women going to leadership positions. So rather than comparing each other against one another and moving away from that sense of competition, right? We're going to be much more powerful as a community.
Yes, and honestly, we will be taken more seriously.
Hello.
Yesterday I had a meeting with one of the MPs, and we were discussing. I spoke to you about it. How certain things have to be. We need to create some policies for helping women who've been left, or by their spouses or partners, and that's what I was coming across. Is there's no one unity, one thing. Everything is so scattered when it comes to women things.
It really is. I mean, sorry, my nose keeps itching because of the allergies. But one example is the nonprofit model. Now we're seeing more and more nonprofits join. So this nonprofit brings this, and this nonprofit brings another unique quality, and they come together and they have more of an impact. But the model has always been compete for funding.
Yes.
And then when you get the funding, they give you funding only to put on a project, but not to fund operations. Which is, if you don't have operations, then you don't have anything, right? So it's always feast or famine type of thing, right? And then if you call a nonprofit, and for instance, we targeted this event that we have on November 6th in part to nonprofits, because we know women in nonprofits, because of their budgets, nonprofits don't have adequate funding to develop the staff, right?
Yeah.
So we targeted nonprofits for that purpose. And some people just don't even want to publish it because they feel like you're a competitor. And there's no competition. It's like, we're offering you this education for free. So it's it's very difficult for nonprofits. And I think the model needs to be revamped, or we know the model needs to be revamped.
Oh yeah.
For the Ford, I think it's Ford Institute and their funding in the one that's based out of New York City. They have a model where they're actually saying, we'll give you funding and we're going to give you a big chunk for operations. So they're breaking the model. So hopefully that philosophy will spread, and that will create more support and access to nonprofits.
I think that's great, and I wish we can do something here in Canada too. I mean, through WGLI, have more programs like what you're doing right now for leadership, for self-innovation, And so what is WGLI's future? Like, what do you see like in the few months? Like, what are you targeting for WGLI to achieve, or what's the main goal?
Well, our goals have changed quite drastically over the last 30 years. What we thought we were going to do 2.5 years ago through the pandemic completely changed. Having live events versus virtual events.
Yes.
We always wanted to create have a larger impact and create more awareness, and the virtual community allows us to do that. And then now, not only Zoom, but what does hybrid look like? So our mission right now is to put programs into the hands of partners and help them launch those programs, and then support them in building those programs internally within their organizations, and also in serving women in their external communities. So providing support for partners to deliver leadership programs and build the capacity within their organizations to bring in more women of color, to create a funnel for women's leadership within their organizations, to create greater diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we're creating programs that will help facilitate that.
That's a huge, how can I say, it's a huge project.
Well, it's simpler than you think.
Well, I wish you all the best for the future, and I look forward working with WGLI and creating more great online classes or seminars for women to attend from everywhere around the world, so we can get the word across to a bigger audience rather than just targeted to a smaller group of people. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, virtual has allowed us to do that.
It really has. And then if you think about it, you can do virtual and you can have a facilitator on site who's facilitating the presentation, the online presentation. Right?
Oh, yes.
You can have a live facilitators. You can have people at tables within organizations, and you can facilitate it in that manner as well. So you can put the personal touch on it.
Of course. And right. I think that even if we as women who have started these initiatives can help at least one or two women to achieve their goals or to give them that self-confidence, I think we've done somewhat right.
Well, that's supporting women, right? And the progression of women and closing the gender gap, the pay equity gap. Because we all made that commitment to take one or two, imagine what we could change.
That's what I'm saying, that one or two women can change a lot of people, because then she'll educate her kids or her social surroundings.
Circle, yeah.
So it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
And again, I'm really honored that you, Diana, the CEO of WGLI, Women Global Leadership Initiative, took the time to come on my blog and talk to everyone about what you do. And I hope we can do more things in future.
I look forward to it. And again, I'm honored that you invited me. And
it's my pleasure.
I can't wait to see your work evolve and help support you in any way that I can or the organization can. And of course, we're ready to bring programs to the area that you target.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yes, that's what I believe in.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.